Hello everyone, Chodesh Tov. I hope you are all doing well in this difficult time. I want to share a short Dvar Torah about this week's Sedra, or double Sedra, Tazria Metzora, which takes as its central theme that of the Metzora, Tzaras, the person afflicted with what's often translated, or perhaps mistranslated, as leprosy, but which Chazal understand to be referring not to a physical affliction, but to the spiritual malaise of Lashon Hara, negative talk, and other social evils like arrogance, jealousy, and selfishness. It has been pointed out that the halachas of the Mesorah bear somewhat of a resemblance to our current situation, in which the Mesorah, after being identified as such, would have to isolate for 7, 14, or even longer days until their external body heals, reflecting that an inner process of healing and teshuvah has taken place. I want to share, though, 3 insights based on around these ideas and these halachas. And the first is something I've spoken about before, which is the Gemara that tells the story of Rabbi sitting in his study who hears a peddler passing. And the peddler calls out, "Who wants to buy the elixir of life?" Rabbi, curious, steps out and asks the peddler, "What is this elixir of life?" And the peddler responds by taking out his Tehillim and showing him the Pasuk. Mi ha'ish hechofetz chayim, oyev yamin u'ez tov. Who is it who wants to live? Guard your mouth from speaking evil, your lips from saying falsehood. This is the elixir of life. And Rav Yana is very moved and thanks the peddler very much for this insight. But of course, what exactly was it that the peddler taught Rav Yana that he didn't know before? He just showed him a pasuk in Tehillim. And Chasam Sofer answers by reading the pasuk in a unique and original way, which he says is what the peddler showed Rav Yana. Because the peddler is helping him understand the root cause behind Lashon Hara. Mi ha'ish hechofetz chayim. Who is the person who doesn't just want to live, but wants to live, who has chayfetz, who has a desire in life? And the answer is oyev yomim. Of course, someone who loves their days. But how do we love our days? How can we appreciate that which we have? And the answer is liros tov, by putting in the hard work only to see that which is good, to count our blessings, to focus on that which we have rather than that which we don't have. Not to focus on that which others have, but to focus on that which we have achieved, that with the blessings that we have been granted. And if we have those qualities of positivity in place, where we see the good in ourselves and the good in others, then of course it's much easier not to be tempted to speak Lashon Hara and negativity about others. Because very often what drives us to draw satisfaction from focusing on the failure of others is an inner lack of confidence or positivity in ourselves. Thought number 1. A second thought is a unique halacha in the laws of Tzaras. Because when the Metzora thinks that they might be afflicted with Tzaras, they have to turn to the Kohen to ask whether indeed they are Tomei and have to isolate or not. In a few moments we'll talk about why they go to the Kohen rather than the normal source of halachic ruling, who would be the Chacham or the Rav. But amongst the features that the Kohen has to look at to diagnose this correctly is one unique halacha. Because the Pasuk says, V'roa Kohen v'nei kisasar Tzaras kol basoro. Chapter 13, Pasuk 13, if the Kohen sees that the Metzora is completely covered with Tzaras, then V'tziyah HaKohen, the Kohen has to declare that this person is Tahor and is not a Metzora and does not need to isolate. Now why would this be? If a Metzora is partially covered with Tzaras, they are Tomei, they are Metzora, they have to isolate. Completely covered with Tzaras, no isolation, no Tumah. So to answer this question, 2 ideas, 2 thoughts. The first from Rav Shimon Schwab, who points out that what creates a challenge in life is always because things aren't black and white. It's only because there's something good in that which is tempting us. Something positive in that which we really know we shouldn't do, that we rationalize and justify and are tempted and drawn towards it. Something is only Tomei, something is only impure, and Metzora is only Metzora if there's still something alive and healthy and positive about them. But this Metzora who is completely covered with Tzaras poses no danger. Because something that's completely broken and completely flawed, that's not what we're tempted by. And this is thought number 1, when we're rationalizing, when we're justifying, when we're doing something wrong. Remember the Metzora. If there's a healthy patch, then the Metzora has to isolate. Completely covered with Tzaras, no isolation needed at all. A second idea. The Kohen is the one who has to analyze and paskin for the Metzora. And the reason this is so, rather than the normal address of halachic rulings, which is the Rav or the Chacham, is because the Kohen is a descendant of Aaron, Oyev Shalom V'Rodev Shalom, the great peacemaker. And this Metzora, afflicted with these social ills, has to confront the Kohen, who's meant to be the role model of Shalom, of peace and harmony and Beinot and hopefully learn from him or her how to improve. And therefore, if the Kohen comes and he sees the Metzora, and the Metzora is kulo negatzoras, is completely broken, completely white, completely diseased, then that means the Kohen hasn't understood them properly. And this Kohen can't be the correct person to bring healing to this victim. Because in life, people are never completely rotten. If we're interacting with someone and we can't see the good in them, then it means we haven't understood them, like this Kohen hasn't completely understood them, and therefore isn't the person to help them on their journey of life. And therefore this is a second insight in the area of Lashon Hara. We need to work on understanding the other perspective. We need to work on seeing and appreciating the other person. And only so, if we so do, are we capable of then helping and interacting them with properly. So here, when we're in this period of isolation, perhaps alone, or perhaps interacting in overly close confines with our immediate family, these are three short ideas to think about, learnt from the Metzora. Oyev yomim lo is tov, if we can appreciate and see the good in ourselves, and focus and work on seeing the good in others. Secondly, kulo negatzoras, every time something tempts us, it's because there is something good in it, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. And thirdly, if we see someone, kulo negatzoras, if we can't see the good in someone, then it means we haven't even begun understanding them. I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov, maybe this be a month of bracha and healing for all of us, for our community, for everyone in the world. Amen, and be well. And looking forward to seeing you all as soon as possible.